The Jabiru is a huge, massive build and unmistakable stork of tropical lowlands, found in marshes and flooded fields, but nests high in large trees. Sometimes Jabirus are seen feeding in wetlands in loose association with other wading birds, which are much smaller. The Jabiru flies strongly and often high overhead, sometimes even soaring like a vulture. Plumage is wholly white, no black in wings in flight, but the naked head and neck are black, with a broad red band at the base of the neck. Timing of breeding varies across the Jabiru's range. In eastern Brazil, egg-laying occurs from July through August at Isla Mehiana, and from September through November in Mato Grosso, southwestern Brazil. Here we see a Jacare caiman eating a snake or some other long-bodied vertebrate organism. Coatis, also known as coatimundis, are one of several raccoon-like species in the genera Nasua and Nasuella. They are highly gregarious and have a wide range of social behavior, including cooperative grooming, nursing, vigilance, and evident defensive behavior. Bands are usually slightly antagonistic to other bands when they meet. However, peaceful interactions also occur and are occasionally characterized by intergroup grooming sessions. Adult males that approach bands other than their own are generally chased away by one or several band members, including both juveniles and subadults. Females often groom one another in an excited manner following such chases. During the breeding season, males are submissive to females and immatures, and occasionally groom them. Bands often break into subgroups for periods varying from several hours to 1 to 2 days.
My name is Carlos, I'm a tour guide in the Pantanal. I'm going to explain about a termite in the tree. That's kind of the termites live in the tree, eating the tree. But it's going to be longer time to kill the tree because it starts to eat the tree inside. Here there is a species, the name is Solter tamandua, live in the tree, eat the termites, also ants in the tree. Another kind is the name is giant ant eater. Look for termites, also ants in the ground. Thank you.
Azara's agouti is a South American agouti species from the family Dasyproctidae. It is found in Brazil, Paraguay, and Argentina, and it is named after Spanish naturalist Felix de Azara. The population is unknown and may have gone locally extinct in some areas due to hunting. It is listed as vulnerable in Argentina. Despite being active during the day, Azara's agoutis are quite difficult to study, as they are naturally extremely shy and will flee and hide when humans approach. Their shyness may be related to their solitary lifestyles, but may be because they are heavily preyed upon by many carnivorous species, including humans. However, if bred in captivity, they can become trusting animals. Azara's agoutis will let out little barks when alarmed. These animals are sometimes known as jungle gardeners, as they often bury nuts and seeds and forget where they put them, therefore helping new plants to grow.
I'm going to spread about a palm tree in the Pantanal. This palm tree is a very important in the Pantanal because the farmers use the leaves of putting the roof from the house. Also, inside the trunk from this palm tree there is a palm heart. It's really good to eat. The fruits is the birds and the animal eat the fruit. It's a small coconut from this palm tree. Also, this coconut, when it's small like this, there's a few drops of water inside. If you have a problem in the ice, you can use this water, work like ice drops. Also here there is a Strangulus figus tree. The Strangulus figus kill the palm tree, but it's going to be long time because it start hug and then kill. Okay? Many years ago, when the people gonna hunt the hyacinth macaw, the blue macaw, to sell them, they use the juice from this tree, collect this juice, and then cook this juice. After ready, put in the branch near to the blue macaw nested. When the hyacinth macaw arrive there in the nest, stuck in this groove, and then they come, cut the back, and then take this bird to sell. But now it's not in danger anymore, the hyacinth macaw, because it's protected to by law. Okay? Thank you.
The hyacinth macaw is the largest parrot in the world and easily one of the most spectacular. It is an enormous bird weighing on average 1.5 kilograms, that is 3.5 pounds, and is completely blue save its dark bill and bare yellow orbital ring and stripe at the base of its lower mandible. It is completely dependent on the fruits of a number of palm species and has a necessarily massive bill to aid in the cracking of the tough exterior of these palm fruits. Due to its dependence on these palm fruits, the hyacinth macaw's range is regulated by the presence and abundance of its preferred species and is distributed in north-central and south-central Brazil into extreme northwest Paraguay, where it can be found in palm savannas. The black striped or bearded capuchin is found in the dry deciduous forests and savanna landscapes of northern and central Brazil. They famously use stones to crack open the hard shells of palm nuts to expose the kernel within. The green ibis is a resident breeder from Honduras through Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and western Panama, and South America to northern Argentina. It undertakes some local seasonal movements in the dry season. The bare-faced ibis is found in Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, Colombia, Ecuador, Guyana, Paraguay, Suriname, Uruguay, and Venezuela. It is called the bare-faced ibis because it does not have any feathers on its face. The skin on its face is usually a reddish color. Toco toucans thrive over a wide range of habitats and locations throughout much of the neotropical region. They are native to the countries of Argentina, Peru, French Guiana, Bolivia, Paraguay, Suriname, and Brazil. Studies have shown a correlation between the wide range of the toco toucan and the availability of fleshy fruits, which make up the majority of its diet. A close relative of the toco toucan is the chestnut-eared aracari. It is a medium-sized toucan of the Amazon basin of South America, especially the southern and western parts of the basin. It can be very common in its range and has the widest distribution of any of the aracaris. Chestnut-eared aracari is primarily frugivorous, but also feeds on invertebrates. This species shows a predilection for wet forest about lakes and rivers, Barzea flooded forest, forest islands and rivers, swampy and old stream channel forest, gallery forest, and also old secondary forest edges, clearings, and disturbed areas. In addition, it is found in dense bamboo and canebrake sabolo, cerrado, plantations and farms in forest coffee plantations, and even woodland patches in Cerrado and Pantanal. Found in lowlands from southern Mexico south to northern Argentina, adult rufescent tiger herons are easily separated from the other species of tiger heron by their rich rufous upperparts, especially the neck and head regions. Generally, immature tiger herons are best left unidentified. With some practice, however, immature rufescent tiger herons may be identified by their more rufous head and neck. Besides the bare-faced ibises, which we have already noted previously, we see in this scene two other species of wading birds, including the sun-bittern and the Waddled jacana. The sun-bittern, seen here in the foreground, is a fairly common species along the edge of shady pools, streams, and rivers. It is most numerous in the Pantanal.
That's tegu, I think.
There's one over here if you'd like to. It's huge.
Right after I'm done with this. Yeah, it's a tegu.
The smaller bronze-colored birds are Waddled jacanas, and we see a pair of them here.
I just want to get these guys real quick. We'll go get them. Thank you.
Like the sun-bittern, the Waddled jacana is most common around lakes and ponds, but it is especially abundant in the Pantanal. The bare-faced curassow is a very large terrestrial species. Males are mostly black with a curly crest and a white belly and vent. Note the yellow knob on a black-tipped bill. Females are barred black and white above and have a buffy belly and vent, a black bill with some yellow at the base of the lower bill. Usually found in humid forests and gallery forests, foraging singly or in pairs, they can be very tame. The bare-faced curassow is found in eastern, central, and southern Brazil, Paraguay, and eastern Bolivia, and extreme northeast Argentina in the Cerrado, Pantanal, and southeastern region of the Amazon basin. Its natural habitats are subtropical or tropical dry forests and subtropical or tropical moist lowland forests. The black and white tegu is a species of lizard in the family Teiidae. The species is the largest of the tegu lizards. It is an omnivorous species and inhabits the tropical rainforests, savannas, and semi-deserts of eastern and central South America. Tegus are sometimes kept as pets. They are notable for their unusually high intelligence and can also be housebroken. Like other reptiles, tegus go into brumation in autumn when the temperature drops. They exhibit a high level of activity during the wakeful period of the year. Tegus fill ecological niches similar to those of monitor lizards, but are only distantly related to these. The similarities are an example of convergent evolution. And here we see the tegu taking note as a bare-faced curassow passes near it. The bird poses no danger to the lizard, nor does the lizard pose any real danger to the bird. Excepting, of course, if the tegu were to raid a curassow nest and eat the eggs there. The tegu's tongue contains, of course, chemical receptors, which enable it to, in effect, taste both the air and ground in its environment and thereby give it a better awareness of that environment. Large and lanky with a gray-blue back, white neck, and black cap, the Kokoy heron is widespread and conspicuous, though not abundant, in marshes, rivers, and lakes from Panama to southernmost Chile and Argentina, usually at low elevations. It can be seen singly or in congregations with other herons. Schrieber's many-fingered teiid is named in honor of Austrian naturalist Karl Franz Anton Ritter von Schreibers. It occurs in Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, Paraguay, and Uruguay. The preferred natural habitats of this species include forest, savanna, shrubland, and grassland. The cattle tyrant is a medium-sized flycatcher with a fairly widespread range in South America. It superficially resembles a tropical kingbird with olive-brown back, yellow belly, and grayish crown. However, the cattle tyrant is unique for typically being found on or near the ground, where pairs or small flocks follow grazing animals. The great ant shrike is a strikingly patterned but very skulking bird of forest borders, thickets, and tangles in humid tropical lowlands. It is uncommon. Heard much more often than seen, it typically sings from dense vine tangles. The song suggests some trogons, but ends with a quiet snarl audible at close range. The male is black above, the female is rusty above. We see a male here. The silver-beaked tanager is a medium-sized passerine bird. This tanager is a resident breeder in South America from eastern Colombia and Venezuela, south to Paraguay and central Brazil, Peru, and on to Trinidad. It is common and conspicuous. Silver-beaked tanagers are about 18 centimeters, that is 7 inches long, and weigh about 25 grams, or 0.88 ounces. Adult males are velvety crimson black with a deep crimson throat and breast. A male is seen here. The upper mandible of the bill is black, but the enlarged lower mandible is bright silver in appearance. The bill is pointed upwards in display. The female is much duller, with brownish upper parts, reddish-brown underparts, and a black bill. There is considerable plumage variation between the various subspecies, differing mainly in the degree of contrast between the upper parts in the throat and breast. These are social birds, which eat mainly fruit, but insects are also taken. The silver-beaked tanager is often seen in groups of 6 to 10, frequently giving a call described as ching. The black-backed water tyrant is a species of bird in the family Tyrannidae, the tyrant flycatchers. It is one of 3 species in the genus Fluvicola. It is found in South America in central and northeastern Brazil and south through Bolivia, Paraguay, northern Argentina, and Uruguay. Also eastern Peru. Its natural habitat is swamps. We again encounter the Jacare caiman. Males grow to a total length, including tail, of about 2 to 3 meters, that's 6.6 to 9.8 feet, and females to 1.4 meters, or 4.6 feet. The Jacare caiman was hunted heavily for its skin to use for leather in the 1980s, which caused its population to decrease significantly. However, trading restrictions placed since have caused its population to increase. Its population in the Pantanal is around 10 million and is listed as least concern on the IUCN Red List. We again encounter the waddled jacana. This species is distributed throughout the tropics and subtropics of South America and is common in just about any permanent and seasonally flooded freshwater wetlands. Floating vegetation is the limiting substrate for this species, and it will not occur in any wetland where this is absent. It uses its greatly elongated toes and claws to distribute its weight when walking on this notably submissive vegetation while foraging primarily for insects. The wattled jacana is highly polyandrous, with females defending and breeding with 1 to 3 males, which in turn each defend a small territory. Their nests are constructed to meet the needs of their floating habitat and are often partially submerged. Some authors have considered the wattled jacana to be conspecific with a similar northern jacana with which it narrowly overlaps in Panama. The gray-necked wood rail is a large, brightly colored, chicken-like rail of freshwater marshes and damp woodland, less often occurring in mangroves. Unlike many rails, it can be conspicuous, even bold, walking in the open along the edge of ponds and rivers, twitching its short black tail. It's usually seen singly or in pairs. The southern lapwing is a raucous, conspicuous shorebird. It has a distinctive color pattern with black breast, white belly, gray head, and a bronzy shoulder. The wings are boldly patterned in flight. It often occurs in pairs or small flocks in open habitats, usually near water, but also in dry pastures. A loud grating call is a good clue to its presence. The rufous-tailed jacamar is a notably beautiful inhabitant of forest edges and clearings of Central and South America. It occurs in several disjunct populations, from eastern Mexico south to western Panama, from eastern Panama south to western Ecuador, Colombia, and Venezuela, in Guyana, and from Bolivia east to eastern Brazil. The 6 recognized subspecies of rufous-tailed jacamar vary slightly in the amounts of black and the chin in the number of green central rectrices. But in general, males are an iridescent coppery golden green above with a white throw and cinnamon rufous underparts. The lesser kiskadee is a flycatcher that is brown above and bright yellow below with a black and white head pattern. It is very similar in plumage to a host of other species, including the great kiskadee and rusty-margined flycatcher. However, note that the lesser kiskadee's smaller size, slender shape, and longer, narrower bill. These are the distinguishing characteristics. The sexes are alike. The black-fronted nunbird is a fairly large, dark bird in lowland forest and forest edge. The bold red bill is striking. It is similar to the white-fronted nunbird, but has a black face and is typically found in younger forest and forest edge rather than mature forest. It perches on open branches in the middle and upper levels of the forest, sometimes remaining still for long periods. It often travels in pairs or groups, which frequently erupt into a cacophony of noisy, parrot-like warbles. And here again, we encounter the beautiful green ibis.
Look at the good neck macaws there.
The red-footed tortoise is a species of tortoise from northern South America. These medium-sized tortoises generally average about 30 centimeters, that is about 12 inches as adults, but can reach over 40 centimeters or 16 inches. They have dark-colored, loaf-shaped carapaces with a lighter patch in the middle of each scute. Those are the scales on the shell. And dark limbs with brightly colored scales that range from pale yellow to dark red. And here we see two smaller parrot species, the monk parakeet and the golden-colored macaw. The golden-colored macaw attains a total length of about 38 centimeters, or 15 inches, of which almost half is tail feathers. The general plumage is green, with a distinct yellow collar that is broadest on the back of the neck. The yellow color develops as the bird ages, with more vibrant colors found in mature birds. The main population occurs in the Pantanal of Brazil, southwestern Mato Grosso, western Mato Grosso do Sul, and southern Rondônia, northern Argentina, far northern Paraguay, and most of northern and eastern Bolivia. A second disjunct population occurs in far northeastern Mato Grosso, southeastern Pará, and western Tocantins in Brazil. The yellow-colored macaw nests in a hole in a tree. The eggs are white, and there are usually 2 or 3 in a clutch. The female incubates the eggs for about 26 days, and the chicks fledge from the nest at about 70 days after hatching. Monk parakeets are the only member of the parrot family to build stick nests and to nest colonially. Their bulky nests provide a year-round home for the colony. The insulation these nests provide may be one reason why monk parakeets are able to survive cold winters. A single nest structure typically contains up to 20 nest chambers, and in extreme cases can house more than 200 nests. The Nande conure, or black-footed parakeet, is a medium-sized, mostly green, neotropical parrot native to continental South America. The Nande parakeet is about 27 to 30 centimeters long, that is 11 to 12 inches, and weighs about 140 grams, or 4.9 ounces. It is mostly green in color. Its most distinguishing characteristic, for which it is named, is the black facial mask and beak. It also shows black, trailing flight feathers on its wings and has a long tail edged at the end in blue. The upper chest is bluish-green and the lower chest is a paler green. Feathers covering the thighs are red.
Beautiful.
The snowy egret is a beautiful, graceful, small egret. very active in its feeding behavior in shallow waters.
Oh,
The
spectacular.
species was slaughtered for its plumes in the 19th century, but protection brought a rapid recovery of numbers, and the snowy egret is now more widespread and common than ever. 3 to 5 eggs are laid, sometimes 2 to 6. They are pale blue-green. Incubation is by both sexes for 20 to 24 days. Young may clamber out of the nest in 20 to 25 days. The turquoise-fronted Amazon parrot has been considered to be one of the most abundant of its genus. Found from northeast Brazil, south to Bolivia, Paraguay, and northern Argentina, the species is known from a variety of more or less wooded habitats, including cerrado and chaco scrub, gallery forests, and palm groves. Given its overall abundance, the blue-fronted parrot has been heavily targeted by the caged bird trade, although, on the plus side, it has almost certainly benefited from ongoing agricultural expansion through much of its range. Like many Amazonas species, the plumage is mainly green with a largely yellow face and a blue frontal band, as well as red speculum. There are 2 subspecies, and these differ most obviously in the color of the smaller wing coverts, red in the nominate race and yellow and forming an extensive
that's good.
patch in the southwestern subspecies. Breeding in the turquoise-fronted Amazon occurs from October to March. They nest in a hole in a tree generally about 9 meters or 30 feet up, or more rarely on a cliff face. An average of 3 eggs are normally laid. Incubation lasts for about 23 to 25 days, and the nestling period about 58 to 60 days. Post-fledgling survival in radio-collared individuals is about 94% during a 33 days average period. The scaled pigeon is a handsome large pigeon of humid forest and edge in tropical lowlands. It is usually seen flying overhead, less often perched in canopy of tall trees. The red-brocket deer is a species of deer that has a characteristic small to medium size. They are the largest of their genus, the brocket deer, and their morphology consists of an archback, stout body, relatively short tails, and average-sized ears. They have elongated faces, and their legs are slender, providing agility. Red-brocket deer can be found in Central and South America, inclusive of Trinidad. They live in dense vegetation in mountains, rainforests, and plantations, where they can easily hide in the vegetation to escape potential predators. They prefer moist conditions. They can be found in pairs or solitary. They are usually diurnal and spend the majority of their waking hours foraging in the areas where they live. It is recorded that very little is known of this deer due to its shy nature. Based on the literature, the red-brocket deer can be both nocturnal and diurnal. However, nocturnal activity predominates due to them having the advantage of being out of sight from predators and hunters at night. With its characteristic, drawn-out, moaning growl, the vocalizations of the great potu are among the most exciting and perhaps most unsettling nocturnal sounds in the neotropics. Apart from its vocalizations, the great potu is an intriguing species. Great potus are nocturnal and feed on large flying insects and occasionally bats, which they capture in cellies from a high perch. During the day, they remain motionless in mimic of broken tree branches. The great potu is distributed throughout the humid and semi-humid forested habitats in Central and South America. Black-banded owl is a striking species of owl found across a large area of South America. The species is found in humid forest below 1,800 meters in elevation, primarily in northern South America east of the Andes, but also in southeastern Brazil. This is a medium-sized owl, barred black and white all over with darker flight feathers, a blackish face mask, and a yellow-orange bill and feet. Black-banded owl can be detected most easily by listening for its call, a rising series of hoots. The black-banded owl primarily feeds upon insects, including especially moths, beetles, locusts, and mantids. Small mammals and other small vertebrates are also reportedly on its menu. Nests found in northeastern Argentina had one nestling and one egg from September to November of 2012. The nest was in the main fork of a tree, about 15.2 meters above the ground, that's about 50 feet, and protected by epiphytes and 3 large vertical branches. The crab-eating fox tends to have a similar size and shape to most foxes. It is mainly grayish-brown with red areas on the legs and face and on its long, bushy black-tipped tail and ears. Its legs are short and strong, and its coat is thick and short. Coloration varies from brown to pale or dark gray to yellowish. Along the back legs there is a black streak with a black stripe on the spine. On the muzzle, ears, and paws, the fur is more reddish. The ear tips, tail, and legs are black, and the ears are round and wide. The torso is rather narrow. The crab-eating fox lives in central South America. It ranges from Colombia and Venezuela as far as Uruguay, Paraguay, and northern Argentina. Its habitat mostly includes savannas and woodlands. However, it is known to live in a range of other areas, including edge and forested areas. It may prefer higher areas during the rainy season, moving to lowlands in the dry season. The crab-eating fox is mainly nocturnal and is also active during the dusk, spending the day in a den dug by other animals. These foxes travel together in pairs but hunt as individuals. Their territory ranges from 0.6 to 0.9 kilometers squared. The crab-eating fox is an omnivore, mainly feeding on crabs, fish, reptiles, rodents, birds, insects, eggs, and fruit. Crab-eating foxes are monogamous. They often breed 2 times a year, 7 to 8 months apart, sometimes with a peak in births in January, February, or sometimes March, and again in September to October. November or December is when the reproductive period usually begins, and again in July. Gestation lasts for 52 to 59 days, females giving birth to 2 to 6 cubs. The fox cubs are born with their eyes and ears shut and without teeth. Their eyes open at 14 days. At 30 days, they can start digesting solid food, and at 3 months, they are weaned. Sexual maturity is reached at 9 months. Various rodent species of the Pantanal are no doubt common prey items of the crab-eating fox. And they are also common prey items, no doubt, of the ocelot, seen here. The ocelot is a medium-sized spotted wild cat that reaches 40 to 50 centimeters, that is about 16 to 20 inches, at the shoulders and weighs between 8 and 15.5 kilograms, or 17.6 to 34.2 pounds. It was first described by Carl Linnaeus in 1758. 2 subspecies are recognized. It is native to the southwestern United States, Mexico, Central and South America, and to the Caribbean islands of Trinidad and Margarita. It prefers areas close to water sources with dense vegetation cover and high prey availability. The ocelot preys on small terrestrial mammals, such as armadillos, opossums, and lagomorphs. Both sexes become sexually mature at around 2 years of age. They can breed throughout the year, though the peak mating season varies geographically. After a gestation period of 2 to 3 months, the female gives birth to a litter of 1 to 3 kittens. They stay with their mother for up to 2 years, after which they leave to establish their own home ranges. The Brazilian tapir can be found predominantly in Brazil, but its range covers much of South America's tropical forests. It ranges from northern Argentina to Venezuela, but is absent from Chile and locations west of the Andean Cordillera. Brazilian tapirs prefer tropical montane forests, but are also present in swamps and lowland forests. It can be found from sea level up to 4,500 meters in elevation. They are adept mountain climbers and sometimes create paths to larger bodies of water. They prefer to live close to water, especially rivers, and are comfortable swimmers. The boat-billed heron is a nocturnal bird of mangroves and freshwater marshes in tropical lowlands. It spends the daytime roosting in trees, often in loose groups. The boat-billed heron comes out at night to feed along the edge of lakes and rivers. Easily identified by the huge boat bill and big brown eyes, the adult has a black crown, pinkish breast, and silvery gray back. Capybaras are the largest rodents on Earth. They can weigh more than 45 kilograms, that is 100 pounds, and grow to be more than 1.2 meters, or 4 feet long, and 2 feet, 0.6 meters tall, much larger than their guinea pig relatives. They have a heavy barrel-shaped body which sits on relatively squat legs, shorter in the front than the back. They are semi-aquatic and will spend most of their time in dense vegetation around rivers, lakes, ponds, marshes, and swamps. Feeding mostly in the afternoon and on and off at night, capybaras tend to doze in the morning. Black-crowned night herons are stocky birds compared to many of their long-limbed heron relatives. They're most active at night or at dusk, when you may see their ghostly forms flapping out from daytime roosts to forage in wetlands. The common tapete, also known as the Brazilian cottontail or forest cottontail, is a species of cottontail rabbit. It is small to medium-sized with a small, dark tail, short hind feet, and short ears. As traditionally defined, its range extends from southern Mexico to northern Argentina, but this includes several distinctive populations that have been since split into separate species. Under this narrower definition, the true tapete only occurs in the Atlantic rainforest of coastal northeastern Brazil and is classified as endangered by the IUCN. Here we see the eerie glowing eyes of a large number of caimans in the water at night. Note the bats flying over this dimly lit scene. Roseate spoonbills are medium-sized water birds with a football-shaped body and long legs. The long bill that is flattened into a spoon at the end protrudes from their small head. Roseate spoonbills are pale pink birds with bright pink shoulders and rump. They wade through shallow water, swinging their heads side to side with their bill under the water, feeling for prey. They tend to forage with their bodies held in a horizontal position just above the water with the head hanging down. The black skimmer is a long-winged bird with stark black and white plumage. It has a unique grace as it forages in flight. Skimmers feed by opening the bill and dropping the long, narrow lower mandible into the water, skimming along until they feel a fish. Then they relax the neck, quickly closing their jaws and whipping the fish out of the water. Because they feed essentially by touch, they can even forage at night.
That's a really good.
The capped heron is a very attractive medium-sized heron that is uncommon but widespread in lowlands of South America, barely extending into eastern Panama. Not likely to be mistaken for another species, the capped heron has a combination of silvery back, buffy neck and belly, black cap, and blue lores, sometimes radiant turquoise. These help distinguish this species from other herons. Also note the long white plumes on the back of the head. The capped heron occurs around swamps, forested ponds, and rivers, usually singly. The snail kite is a unique snail-eating raptor. It is widespread and fairly common in Central and South America, but of very limited range in the United States. It's found exclusively around lakes and marshes with plenty of vegetation. Note the very sharply hooked bill, long broad wings, and short dark tail with a white base above and below.
Good light.
Free stork flies. Quando você quer andar, parece passarinho.
The greater rhea is South America's largest bird. It is flightless, with a smaller relative, the lesser rhea, restricted to Patagonia and the southern Andes. As in all ratites, the males of the greater rhea incubate the eggs and raise the young. Males mate with several females, all of which lay eggs in a communal nest. The marsh deer is the largest deer species from South America, reaching a length of 2 meters, 6.6 feet, and a shoulder height of 1.2 meters, 3.9 feet. It is found in Argentina, Bolivia, Peru, Brazil, Uruguay, and Paraguay. Formerly found in much of tropical and subtropical South America, it ranged east of the Andes, south from the Amazon rainforest, west of the Brazilian Atlantic rainforest, and north of the Argentinian pampa. Today, it is largely reduced to isolated populations at marsh and lagoon zones in Paraná, Paraguay, Araguaia, and the Guapore river basins.